The 26th of March, it was a bit of a weird night, actually. Some interesting results. I think Washington probably won a game that they didn't really want to win, and they tried not to win it, but they did. We'll talk about that one. We'll talk about the other 5 games, some streaming value, what's coming up the next couple of days. It's going to be a little bit of a different show. I said I'm not going to harp too much on actual results because what those lineups look like moving forward is anyone's guess. So hopefully there's some questions that I can get to. We'll cover all of it. This is the Wednesday. I lose track of the days now. It is the Wednesday post-game show. Let's go. Balls deep.
I'm the type to get shit done. You the type to observe. March Madness on my speakers, but today's November 23rd. Got something loud in the blunt, yeah. I don't say what I want, yeah. Probably somewhere sunny getting tan. Foreign women in the sun, yeah. That's all that I need. That's all that I need. That's all that I need. Got my brothers with me. Got my brothers with me and my mama's healthy. That's all that I need.
Welcome to the Balls Deep podcast brought to you by Fantasy Basketball International. I'm Adam King. Find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at AdamKing91. Find us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere and everywhere you consume your fantasy basketball content. We are also part of the Old Man Squad at Old Man Squad on Twitter. 6 games. We'll go through them very quickly. But as I said, these rotations are just all over the place at the moment. So we'll glaze over them, if you will. Washington, as I said, they defeat the Sixers. So a good loss for the Sixers, a bad win for the Wizards. Not that I think it's going to matter in the scheme of things. We will talk about Alex Sarr because he was very good. Again, he's playing arguably, well, I don't even think it's arguably, to be fair. His best basketball of the season, 24 points, 7 rebounds, a steal, 2 blocks. Looking good. And on a team with very little hopes for probably the next 2 to 3 years, he could be a good source of fantasy value, I think, moving forward. Jordan Poole's playing fine. You roll him out there. Vukcevic, now they are on a back-to-back. He was pretty good in this one. 17 points, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 23 minutes. The last back-to-back they played, he only played 3 minutes in the second of the back-to-back. So just be aware that Rashawn Holmes could come in tomorrow and Vukcevic could move out. They may also opt to rest Alex Sarr. We don't know. So have a look at what their injury report looks like tomorrow before making any big moves. For the Sixers, usual suspects here. We're no sort of closer to getting Tyrese Maxey or Kelly Oubre or any of those guys back. So we're rolling with Justin Edwards, Quentin Grimes, Gershon Yabusele, Ricky Council, Jared Butler to a lesser extent, Adem Bona to a lesser extent. I think we know sort of where the value is here. With that many injuries on this team, they're actually rolling out a fairly consistent rotation, which helps for fantasy. Look, if we get word that Oubre or Maxey are going to come back at some point, there'd be a bit of a shuffle here. But at this point, I don't think we're there. Game number 2, the Clippers, they beat the Knicks pretty comfortably. Knicks were on a second night of a back-to-back. For usual suspect for the Clippers, they're healthy, they're playing to win. Kawhi, who would have thought? He's probably winning people fantasy leagues at the moment. 27, 10, and 7, 5 of 5 from the line. Norm Powell, he's ramping up. Make sure he's rostered. 19 points for him. Zubats was good. James Harden, who suffered a foot injury in that last game, he played and played well, played a lot of minutes. So very good sign for him. And with all of those guys healthy, we don't really worry about anyone else. For New York, look, Cat, very good. I'd love him to get a block. Wouldn't that be nice? Josh Hart was pretty bad in this one, but he was very good the night before. So you take the good with the bad. Anunoby continues to play very well offensively. 28 points, 11 of 17. Hopefully you have him on your roster. Bridges was fine. The 9 assists are interesting. Campaign started and got injured, hurt his ankle, I believe. Tyler Kolek started the second half, so they're now down Jalen Brunson, Deuce McBride, Cameron Payne. I guess Tyler Kolek is next man up. He had 0 points, but he had 7 assists. I think that makes, 24 assists, I think, in his last 3 games. So if you don't need points, you just need assists, maybe we give Tyler Kolek a very short-term look. Mitch Robinson had a block. We don't need to worry about him, though, whatsoever. Toronto and who they play? The Nets. They did play. What's this one? Oh, what an ugly game. Raptors get the win comfortably over the Nets. Raptors were without Emmanuel Quickly. They were without Jakob Poeltl. Both of those guys are pretty tough to roster at the moment because you're only getting 1 out of every 2 games, basically. I would love to have picked up Poeltl this week, but I just can't trust him. So I didn't. Scotty Barnes, he seems to be playing, so I think we're pretty comfortable with him. RJ Barrett's sort of 50-50. And then it's just take your pick based on who else is available. Orlando Robinson, 23 points, 12 rebounds, 1 block. Now, they did not re-sign, why can't I even think of his name? Oh, that's going to annoy me now. Anyway, they didn't re-sign him. You know who I'm talking about. Someone put it in the chat there for me. So it's Orlando Robinson and it's Jakob Poeltl. It's Jonathan Mobo to a lesser extent. When Poeltl comes back for the next game, which he will, what do they do? Do they run Orlando Robinson as the backup? Do they run Jonathan Mobo as the backup? Yes, Lone Des, it's Colin Castleton. Thank you. Colin Castleton, they did not re-sign. So Orlando Robinson, if we were guaranteed sort of 20-plus minutes a night, I'd add him, but I don't think we are. So I think he's more of a streamer at this point, as is Mobo, as is Battle, as is Agbaji. You're really looking for schedule at this point. Who's playing 3 games in 4 nights, 2 games in, a back-to-back, or 2 in 3, that sort of thing. High-volume nights, low-volume nights. Have a look at all of that. But actually streaming with a view beyond sort of 1 game is really hard because you might, Orlando Robinson, you go, this was amazing. You might stream him in and he plays 8 minutes in the next game. What a waste. That's what I said with Vukcevic. You might stream him in for tomorrow based on what he did tonight and they don't play him and they play Rashawn Holmes. It's really hard. So if you've got limited moves in your league, which I do in the one final I'm in this week, we have 3 moves. That's it. So I'm trying to stream ahead with certainty. It's hard. So I streamed in Draymond Green, and of course he had his worst game of the year yesterday. But I'll hold him. I can't afford to drop him. I need 3 games from him. I streamed in Adem Bona for tonight, just wanting blocks, and I got 3 of them. I got 23 minutes or whatever I said. I'll hold him. He gave me the blocks. That's what I need. I think they have a back-to-back, potentially. Have a look just quickly. They have the Heat on Saturday and the Raptors on Sunday. So I might get 2 games out of him. I don't know. I've got one spot left. No idea who I'm going to pick up. I contemplated picking up Peyton Watson for tonight, and I probably should have. He got 3 blocks and played a lot of minutes. I was cautious because Jokic, Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon were all questionable and did all end up playing. But Gordon only played 18 minutes. Peyton Watson played 33. We'll get to them in a minute. But what's going on there? So streaming beyond 1 game is hard. And this is why next season I'm probably going to, I don't need to advocate because I commission all my leagues, but I'm going to have probably unlimited waiver moves, or at least 7, so 1 per day. Because you get to this point in the season and you might pick up someone who's got 4 games in a week and you get 2 out of them. So you can hold your moves, but then you're really not maximizing those streaming slots. So it's a really convoluted, complicated situation that we're in. That is why I'll be making some changes there. Let's look at Brooklyn. Day'Ron Sharp is out. Sounds like he's probably going to be out for a little bit. Nick Claxton, 22 points, 11 rebounds, 5 blocks. Hallelujah, 5 blocks. Very nice. As you can probably tell, I need blocks in that league that I'm in. So we trust Claxton. Who else? I actually don't know. I think Nick Claxton might be the only guy we can trust. D'Angelo Russell, no thank you. Zaire Williams, I somewhat trust him. Clowney, he just hasn't been very good, which could actually mean he plays more in a weird way. They don't want to win. So maybe Clowney has an element of trust. Keon Johnson is probably in that discussion as well. Trendon Watford, who had been playing well, only 9 points in this one. He had a block, 3 assists. He did play 26 minutes. I think 26 minutes of Trendon Watford every night is probably enough to hold him. But it's borderline. I'd have him over Jalen Wilson, over Derek Whitehead, Maxwell Lewis, Keon Johnson, maybe Clowney, maybe. They're all in, I think, that range there. All right, the Lakers. So this is a team who is fairly predictable at the moment. LeBron, 13 points, 13 rebounds, game-winning tip-in. So we know we can trust him. He's playing a lot of minutes. Now, they are on a back-to-back, so do keep that in mind. They play tomorrow night, so there is a chance LeBron sits that one. Look, there's even a chance Luka sits and Austin Reeves, to be fair. They both sat the last back-to-back. Let's have a look at who they play tomorrow. Should know this, shouldn't I? They play the Bulls tomorrow. So certainly not a gimme. They're going to need to play some good basketball because the Bulls are playing quite well at the moment. So just be aware of that. Luka, Austin Reeves, LeBron James could all sit out tomorrow. Jackson Hayes, another guy that I streamed in this week with 4 games, thinking, okay, he's basically just playing 25 minutes a night. He's giving me some rebounds, maybe a block or 2. He really has been terrible, if we're being honest. He had 13 points in this one, so he helps me with my efficiency, but 2 rebounds and 1 block, 18 minutes. I'm going to hold him. I have to. I think I actually picked him up last week for this week. So I just have to hold him and hope. Maybe tomorrow he can have a better game against Vooch, although Vooch is questionable, I believe, for tomorrow. But even against Zach Collins, Jackson Hayes could have a nice night. So, yeah, in that sort of situation, I'm just holding him. Hachimura started. He was on a bit of a minutes limit, 14 points. This is just turning into a recap, isn't it? So much for my new style of show. In that, let's move on. Indiana. Okay, Indiana. Look, another pretty predictable team that we don't need to talk about. I don't really think there's anything to talk about. If you've got any questions about Indiana, throw them in there, but I don't think there's much. We do have some questions when it comes to Milwaukee, though. Usually we don't, but we do. Giannis didn't play. It does sound as though he's only going to miss 1 game, so should be back in the next one. Great opportunity here for Kyle Kuzma to step up with no Damian Lillard, no Giannis, no Bobby Portis, of course. And Kuzma did nothing. 10 points, 7... Look, not nothing, but 10 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. The 2 blocks are a complete anomaly. But Lopez did step up. Not really surprising there. So, yeah, we roll with him. Gary Trent has been trending up. 16 points, not a lot else, but 16 points, 4 threes. I don't mind picking him up. I don't mind. Actually, looking at Giannis returning will impact all of these guys, but with Dame out, Gary Trent, AJ Green, Ryan Rollins, Kevin Porter they're all at least on the radar. AJ Green is obviously threes only. Gary Trent, pretty similar, threes only. Kevin Porter is assists and some points. And Ryan Rollins is sort of points. He was good in this one, 17 points, 3 assists. But he's more of a defensive guy. So if you need steals, some assists, a few points. I'd love Ryan Rollins to be the starter here, playing 28 minutes. But they've got a lot of options. I think it will just depend on the opponent. Denver, talked about them very briefly. All of their guys did return tonight, and Jokic, I really could have used this from you last week. 39 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. Good to have him back. Christian Braun, as I thought, with Jokic back, Christian Brown's actually better. So 19 points for him, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. He's been very good this season. I know Cade Cunningham is favourite, I believe, for most improved this year. And look, I'm a huge Cade guy. I love him. He's been fantastic. He should absolutely not win most improved player. He was the number 1 draft pick who has dealt with injuries and a very, very bad team. So he just hasn't played consistent minutes. He is not most improved player. He's just playing on a better team and he hasn't been injured. Yes, he has been better, of course. But most improved player should be someone like Christian Braun or Dyson Daniels, someone who has stepped into a larger role, which we weren't expecting necessarily, and they've just run with it and dominated. Christian Braun has been fantastic. Dyson has been fantastic. I don't know. That's my thoughts on that award. It doesn't matter. And I think Cade will probably win it. But I just don't think that is what the award should be for. I don't see how a number 1 draft pick who is only in his, 4th year and hasn't had a bad season. He just has been injured and playing for a shit team. Alex, I can see you there. Norm Powell, absolutely should be in the discussion for most improved player. Not a number 1 pick. Anyway, with all their guys back, I was surprised that Peyton Watson played 34 minutes. He had 12, 7, and 2 with 3 blocks. I don't think I'd be adding him after this one because Gordon barely played in the first half. I think this was just a bit of a let's stick with the hot guy. I don't think this means that he is going to play 30-plus minutes moving forward. And Westbrook, with everyone healthy, of course, he scaled back 24 minutes off the bench, 6 points, 6 assists, a steal. You don't need to be holding him. All right, last game of the night, Boston comfortably home over the disappointing Phoenix Suns. No Jason Tatum. They didn't need him. And do I need to talk about Boston? I don't think I do. Let's just talk straight about Phoenix. As I have a coffee. All right, Kevin Durant. He's been very good this year. His supporting stats are terrible. 1 rebound, 2 assists, but 30 points. Beyond him, it's not good reading, nice reading. What's the English there? Anyway, Phoenix Suns won't like this box score. Ryan Dunn, who's been playing pretty big minutes lately, 22 of them here, 6 points, 3 steals are nice. He's sort of borderline purely because he is playing. Nick Richards had 10 points, 4 rebounds, nothing else. I looked at him as a streamer tonight for blocks. Pretty glad I didn't go down that path. I figured they were against Boston. Pretty bad matchup for centers. Booker had 14 points on bad shooting, 10 assists. Of course, they don't have Bradley Beal at the moment. And Tyus Jones is no longer a thing. Colin Gillespie started. No, not worrying about him or Iguodaro or Tyus Jones or any of their bench. It's Durant, it's Booker, and maybe Ryan Dunn is someone we could sort of look at. Oh, and that's it, because I didn't talk about Boston. All right, let's get into some questions. First question from Ricardo. Is Bona a drop? He's not starting. Should we hold Watford? Okay, is Bona a drop? Like I said, I'm going to hold him. They have a back-to-back on the weekend. You only really need about 25 minutes from him. He wasn't great tonight, to be fair. He was pretty poor, but he did get you blocks. So I'm holding him, but that's in a situation where I don't need points. I don't need threes or anything like that. I need field goal percentage, rebounds, blocks, like your big man stats. So I'm going to hold him through the weekend. Should we still hold Watford? I think borderline. His minutes have been pretty good. I think he's at least 27 in the last 5 or 6 games. He hasn't rested. He's not missing games. So I don't mind Watford as a hold either. All right, Alex, Grimes and Edwards taken in your ESPN points league. Who is the pickup for the Saturday, Sunday back-to-back? Okay, so you're looking at the Sixers players, I suppose, here. I was thinking Anthony Edwards. No, you're talking about Justin Edwards. All right, let's have a look. Pull up the box score for Philly. So look, if Edwards is gone, Grimes. I didn't even talk about Grimes tonight because he's been so good, but he was good again. Who are we looking at? Look, it's a bit of a dart throw. Like I said, Adem Bona, I don't mind because you do only need... He is coming back off an injury as well, do remember that, which means, I guess, hypothetically, he could miss one of the games on the weekend. We'll see. Your options are Ricky Council, Yabusele, Jeff Doughton, Jared Butler, Adem Bona. They'd be the guys I'd be looking at. What do you need? Yabusele, we know sort of what he gets. He gets rebounds. He can give you some threes. Not a lot on the defensive end. I wouldn't guarantee any of those guys are going to play 30 plus, but you should get at least 26, 27 out of them. So I would just have a look at what they're doing. Council had 34 minutes tonight. Yabusele 27. Do they play Adem Bona and Yabusele together? They have done that in the past. So potentially they go that path and they move like Council to the bench or something. So honestly, you just want to pick one and have faith, really. That's all you can do. And another one from Alex. Couldn't drop any of your 4 centres. Yeah, okay. So you couldn't pick up Sarr for the playoffs. How do I convince my league to abolish the centre limit for next season? Well, I don't know. Send them to me. Send them to Josh. I know his thoughts on those default Yahoo settings. He makes that clear all the time. Yeah, you just shouldn't have it. I have no idea why that is an option. What does it matter? Why can you only have 4 centres? Like I've said multiple times in a couple of my leagues, I had about 9 centres this season. The league that I'm talking about, the one that I'm in the final, I'll tell you exactly how many centres I've got. Not that this helps you at all, but I will tell you. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 centres in that league. Nick Claxton, Evan Mobley, Mark Williams, Karl Anthony Towns, Adem Bona, Draymond Green, Onyeka Okongwu, Jackson Hayes, Jonas Valanciunas, and Anthony Davis. Yeah, why can't I do that? So, look, I don't know why people still have that setting. Is it just a situation where they have just been lazy and couldn't be bothered getting rid of it? Has it actually come up before? I don't know. Tough Ray, hoping the rehab is going well. It's going okay. I didn't do a show yesterday. I had to go and get an x-ray. So there's a funny pain in my leg, which is sort of maybe where the graft was or something. Anyway, I had to go and get an x-ray just to confirm that it's not something. But other than that, it's going okay. Would I consider dropping Derek White for a 3-game player for the rest of the week? It's my finals. Well, you're in the finals. Good job. So I don't know how many games the Celtics... Hang on. What's the easiest way for me to have a look at that? This is going to take me to... I don't want that, do I? I want... What's tomorrow? Tomorrow is Thursday. All right, let's have a look. Boston have... so Boston only have 1 game remaining, Thursday, Friday. And do we have any teams with 3? We do. We have Cleveland. We have... Anyone else? Spurs. Are they the only teams? That might be it. Cleveland are the Spurs. Are they the only teams with 3 games remaining? Yes, if this is your finals, if you don't have to play next week, then I would consider dropping Derek White. They do play the Spurs as well, so there's a chance he's rested or he only plays 26 minutes. So if you can get a player that's going to play 3 games, then yes, I would consider that. Steve, apology accepted. You have Cam and Juice. Yep. Alex picked up Bogdan for the 4 in 6 over Jones Jr. and Dunn. Drop or hold until next Monday. I'd hold. I'm okay holding. I mean, where are the Clippers? Well, they have, what are they? They have 3 more games until for next Monday. So they play Friday, Sunday, Monday. So Kawhi won't play both of those. There's a chance James Harden doesn't play both of those either, I guess, if he's dealing with an injury. Their next game is against Brooklyn. Yeah, I think I'd be okay holding Bogdan there. Steve, 3 moves in your league? Yeah, saving my last guy for affiliate. Yeah, it is. Yeah, 3 moves. We've been able to get away with it in the past, but I just don't think we can. I saw this as well. Lone Des just says that Nick Nurse said that Maxey could return before the end of the season. Is he just saying that to avoid fines? I don't think it's to do with fines. I mean, if someone's injured, they're injured. Yeah, look, honestly, I'd say he's done for the season, but we said that about Anthony Davis. So I'm not going to rule anything out, but it's certainly not happening in the next few games, I don't think. Is Porter an ad? Kevin Porter, I think he's fine if you want to pick him up. The Bucks have 2 more games this week, Friday and Sunday, against the Knicks and the Hawks. So, sure. Yeah, as much as I'd vouch for him as much as I would for Ryan Rollins or Gary Trent. So, yeah, I don't mind that. When you are ready in a 14-team cat, would Julian Champagny be a good pickup with the 3 in 4? Needs steals and blocks. Well, I mean, he's not great for blocks. Steals, yeah, maybe. Look, I mean, he's not fantastic again, but 3 games, that's what you're looking at. Hang on, let me pull up his... Just pulling up his game log here. Oh, of course it's going to reset. Come on, let's go. Riveting stuff. Okay. So the last... Yeah, I mean, he's at sort of 20 minutes a game. So if you just break it down, do it from purely a numbers perspective, 60 minutes of Julian Champagny. He's not too bad when it comes to steals. So, look, maybe you get 3 or 4 out of him. I don't know. Have a look at your waiver wire and just, is there someone there that has 2 games but who plays 30 minutes? Apple Pie. Alex, you're not alone. So Apple Pie is also dealing with that center limit issue. Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue. A Pacers question. Is Nembhard an ad? His stat line was amazing tonight. Look, yes, he played well tonight. What did he have, Nembhard? 16, 7 and 3 with a steal. What's their schedule? Pacers are on a back-to-back. So they've got 2 more games this week as well. And against Washington tomorrow, OKC the following night. So could Halliburton rest tomorrow? Maybe. Obviously against the Thunder, that's going to be a tough one. Yeah, look, maybe. I'm not going to say no, and especially if Halliburton ends up resting tomorrow. How do I think Defensive Player of the Year should be decided? That's a tricky one. Obviously, I want I Dyson. I want Dyson Daniels to win it, obviously, and I think he has a case. I think that's fair. I don't think I'm sort of speaking out of place there. I know they look at advanced metrics and they tend to come from a winning team, which I think is why. Because I think Draymond is like favourite now, and to me that's ridiculous because he's been good for a month. Before that, he wasn't great. The Hawks they're going to make the play-in, so I don't know. I just think you look at deflections, and I know there's a whole heap of stats that say what Dyson's doing is just sort of not once in a generation kind of numbers, but they're pretty amazing. He's getting credit from other coaches. I actually don't know what they look at when they sort of decide on this award. I definitely don't think that Draymond Green should win it. I think he's a chance. And people always look at recency stuff. So you can be bad for the first 2-3 months, but I don't know. It's one of the weirder awards because the fact that Anthony Davis has never won Defensive Player of the Year is just baffling. Rudy Gobert's won it, 4 times? Now, I'm not going to argue that he isn't a good defensive player and probably shouldn't have won it once or twice, but 4 times, no. Evan Mobley, I think, should be in the discussion. Maybe Jaren Jackson. Wemby, obviously, if he played enough, would be in that discussion. But, yeah, it's one of the more confusing ones to me. What do we got? All right, I see, Yuri, I see your question there. I'll get to it shortly because it's a more of a sort of a general one. So this is Alex's league where there's a centre limit. Bigs are most valued because blocks are high points and double-doubles are turned on. That's potentially why then, yes. If blocks hold more weight and double-doubles hold more weight, then yes, that's a reasoning. I'd wonder why are blocks high and steals aren't, because they're very comparable when you look at averages and that sort of thing. I am of the opinion that they should be worth more than 3, which is what they're worth in a standard points league. So I think they should be worth 5 or something like that. But I wouldn't have one over the other. I'd be shifting them as a pair. Double-doubles, we had that in one of my leagues and I got rid of it as soon as I took over as commissioner. It was the first thing I got rid of. It depends how much sway you have in that league, but I would absolutely question why double-doubles are in there and why blocks are high and steals aren't. Because if steals were as high as blocks, then it would take that focus off the bigs and put it on Dyson Daniels. Imagine what he'd be worth. Okay. Why do I need blocks when I have 9 centers on my team? Good question. So the start of the week was very poor. So I think coming into today, sorry, we're going down this rabbit hole, aren't we? Prior to today, I was on 8 blocks for the week, and Evan Mobley had 4 of them. So I think between Valanciunas, Claxton, Anthony Davis, Jackson Hayes, Mark Williams, Draymond Green, Onyeka Okongwu, Karl Anthony Towns. So what's that? 9 centers who played over the first 2 days. I had 4 total blocks from them. Luckily, I got a few more today, and on paper, I should win blocks. But this time of year, again, it's so random. That's why I've streamed those guys. It was unlucky. I should be winning blocks, but I just got unlucky to start the week. So I'm just trying to shore up that category a little bit. All right, what else have we got? Agree, yes. Generational hater. I mean, Thompson, I think, should be in the discussion. I wouldn't give it to him, but yes, his defensive stats are good. His advanced stats are good. So yes, he is someone else that I would have in that discussion. But again, I'm not sure. Do I think Do I think the league could combat tanking by stripping teams of draft compensation, similar to when teams are caught tampering? Yeah, look, I think so, but how do you determine tanking? That's the question. Like, yeah, I mean, resting players, yes, that's obviously tanking, but a lot of these teams are saying John Collins, like the Utah, good example. They're saying John Collins is out with an injury. They're not saying rest. So how do you prove that? An independent doctor who goes in. What is the injury? Like, there's just a whole lot of moving pieces when it comes to determining injuries and that sort of thing. So I don't know how they would prove that a team is faking injuries or that sort of thing. So I think it's a good idea on paper. What else have we got? So blocks and steals are equally valued at 4 points. Made three-pointer is 5 points. Well, then, yes, there should absolutely be no centre limit. If made threes are also a 5-point limit, why are you not limiting guards? I don't know. Who would I add for Brooklyn's back-to-back? Zaire Williams or Trenton Watford? Ooh, it's a tough one. Let's go... Oh, that's really hard. It's a flip of the coin, 50-50 for me. I'll go Trenton Watford. Okay. Do we like Justin Edwards, Bona, or Yabusele for most likely to have a pop-off game? Well, it depends what you mean by popping off. If you mean offensively, it's probably Justin Edwards. In terms of Adem Bona could get 14 rebounds and 5 blocks. So defensive stats. And then Yabusele's sort of in the middle. He can get you some points, can get you some rebounds. So I think Edwards is probably the safest there. Bona, if you're looking for those big man stats. All right, let's get to, where was Yuri's question? Okay, Yuri's question. What's my stance on consolation bracket teams picking up free agency? If there's no prizes for placings, I don't think it's right. Got to let the championships have contenders on first dibs. I have thoughts. Hang on. So it's a tricky one because it depends on what the purpose of the consolation bracket is. If they're playing for something, then I think it should be free for all. If the consolation brackets are playing for the number one pick next year or something like that, if there is an incentive or a reward, then absolutely, I think they should be able to pick up players if there's motivation for them to win. If there isn't, if it's simply to determine standings for whatever reason, even if it's determining standings for the draft picks for next year, I don't think you should worry about it. Just go off the final regular season standings. So if, for example, if your playoffs have consolation brackets and it's positioning everyone so that at the end of the playoffs and the consolation brackets, you have a final standing list. So whoever lost their first consolation bracket game, then lost. So they finish last, gets the first pick. I would not reward that. I would just go off the regular season standings and not worry about it. And I guess what you would say then is, okay, well, do we even need to have a consolation bracket? Honestly, I don't think you do. None of my leagues do that I'm in. If you once you're out, you're out. There's no consolation playoffs or anything like that. You could, I guess, a point to be made would be that we want to have a consolation bracket just so that those that are eliminated are still playing, still giving them something to do. Yes, and I think that's fair, but you shouldn't be able to pick up players. Like you can just run with your team that you've got. But if there's no money, no incentive, then no, I don't think consolation brackets should be able to pick up players. That should be left for the teams that are fighting at the top. And like in the playoffs, in the league that I'm in now, we're in the final. It's just me and him. No one else is picking up players. So I think that, for me, that's sort of where I stand on that. Very true, Alex. And this is why I wasn't sure with the Zaire Watford question, because I can't guarantee that both of them are going to play both games. And it's Brooklyn. So, this is turning into a big picture podcast, isn't it? Playoff teams are selected by conference. All-stars are by conference. Why are draft picks not based on conference seeding but overall record? Should we abolish conferences? I don't think so. Look, this is a discussion I think you could go on forever with the discussion of, do we get rid of conferences? I don't think so. I think you need conferences. I think you need divisions. I think that's fine. All sports have it. It's fine. In terms of should that determine playoff seeding, I think you could argue that one, because we constantly see teams from the West that miss out on the playoffs, and if they were in the East, they would have made the playoffs. So shouldn't it just be the 16 best teams playing? Isn't that what we want to see? Potentially. And so, yes, why are draft picks not based on conference seeding? It's a tricky discussion, but I think we need the conferences. I think we need the divisions. I'm always curious because I don't watch college basketball a lot. I just don't get time. And honestly, it's not televised a whole lot over here. And I'm usually watching NBA during the day, so I can't watch college. But having had this surgery, I'm stuck at home. I've watched all of March Madness so far. And I know how it works. I know how March Madness works. But I never understand I know there's all the conferences, the SEC, the Big Ten, all that. There's however many of those. But to me, I don't have a great knowledge of where cities are in America. I have a general sort of idea. But it seems to me like there's a lot of teams that are I don't know if those SEC, Big Ten, whatever that, I don't know if are they based on geographic location, or because they have the South Division and there's a team in the South Division that I think, well, that's not in the South. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense. And I don't know if that's right, or whether that's just me not knowing much about where places are in America. That could very well be the truth. But yeah, even the NBA conferences, could they be rejigged? Could we look at a couple of Western Conference teams, Eastern Conference teams, and shuffle them based on in terms of, I think Minnesota, Indiana, Minnesota, maybe, I don't know how close they are, but anyway, maybe there's some flexibility there with teams in the middle, towards the middle, where you could split them or shuffle them across to even things up. I don't know what the solution is, but it is it's a good question. Okay, so one of the NCAA conferences recently folded, so an LA team is conferences with a lot of Eastern teams are in a New York City fortnightly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I'm not there, obviously, and yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. We just have to work with the product that we have at the moment. Okay, I'm going to get out of here. Good show, a little bit longer than I thought, but that's good. It was because of questions. Very good question. Is Emmanuel quickly droppable? Yes, he is. Only has one more game, much like Derek White. If someone's got one game and it's Emmanuel Quickly, who will probably only play 28 minutes anyway, and where's the Raptors? Oh, is that? Oh, yeah, that's right. So Raptors have two more games this week. They play Friday and they play Sunday. So, no, I think he has... Well, probably only has... Okay, so you're saying probably because he's probably going to get rested for one. Yeah, look, that's fair. He'll play the next one. So maybe you hold off. Maybe you wait until Friday and then pick up someone. But, yeah, because there aren't a lot of teams that have 3 games in 4 nights, I don't think. In saying that, there's not a lot of teams that have the back-to-back either. If you can get a comparable player to him, because it's not guaranteed that he's going to sit, but they do play Charlotte and they do play Philly. So they're two comparable teams. I'd consider dropping him. I mean, he was another player that I would have picked up last week, I believe, but I didn't because I just know he's going to miss half their games. So, yeah, look, chances are he plays in one of the next two. Definitely he'll play Friday. Well, not definitely, but pretty certain he plays Friday. So maybe you want to play him Friday. I don't know. It's a considerment, I think. Considerment? That's not a word. All right. Now I'm going to go. Show tomorrow. Should be a show tomorrow, I think. All things going well. I'm all out of whack here. I keep thinking it's Wednesday, but it's not. It's Thursday. So it's Friday tomorrow. So yes, I should be able to do a show tomorrow. Go and download, go and like. Again, I know people are funneling away from fantasy basketball as we get towards the end of the season. But stick around and follow me and follow Dan. And we've got some pretty cool things coming up. My preseason stuff, honestly, will probably start in May. I'll definitely be doing a mock draft. Probably May, once the regular season is done and we're into the playoffs. I will, if I can find 11 analysts to join me. And look, maybe we'll do a public one as well. If we can get enough public interest in doing a mock draft. Just a slow draft, might take a week, but hell, what else have we got to do? So there will be some preseason content probably starting from May. It'll be fairly limited at that point. But once we hit July, definitely August, but probably July, there's talk. It's me and Dan Besbris talking. When I'm in LA in July, we're potentially going to record a joint face-to-face podcast from his abode, so from his house in Los Angeles. So that'll be fun, doing a show with him. So we'll see what happens. But lots coming up. So do follow us and keep your ear to the ground, and we'll let you know what's coming up. But go and download, go and do all of that stuff. Follow us. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm Adam King. This has been the Balls Deep post-game show. Until next time, catch ya.
You just listened to another episode from the Fantasy Basketball International Podcast Network. Thanks for joining us. And for more information about joining our community, please check out our website at FBIBasketball.com.